Work and Witness, Rebuilding Haiti. The Republic of Haiti is a country located on the island of Hispaniola in the Greater Antilles archipelago of the Caribbean Sea. With a population of approximately 10,788,000 people, Haiti is one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. The Church of the Nazarene began ministry in Haiti in 1948 and now has 12 districts, consisting of more than 600 churches, a Bible college, and medical facilities. On Tuesday, January 12, 2010, a catastrophic earthquake of magnitude 7.0 struck Haiti, affecting an estimated 3 million people. About 250,000 people lost their lives as a result, and hundreds of thousands were displaced. The Global Church of the Nazarene immediately stepped in to bring aid to the people. Many districts sent out work and witness teams to help in rebuilding Haiti. Among those work and witness teams ready and eager to lend their assistance to our sisters and brothers in Haiti was a four-man team from the Trinidad and Tobago district. The team, consisting of Reverend Dr. Victor George, Brother Leonard Grant, Brother Nicholas DeSormo, and Brother John Gibson, left the shores of Trinidad and Tobago on August 9, 2010, and traveled to Haiti to work and witness. On that day, when their flight landed at the Toussaint Louverture International Airport in Port-au-Prince, the team recalls being shocked by what they saw: a place of ruins, powdered with dust, and hosts of people gathered around the fences of the airport.
My initial response or thoughts when I got to Haiti was devastation, ground zero, chaos. How are people surviving in this situation? The airport, parts of the airport was totally demolished when we got there. So we had to walk a long way to what they had there as a bunker. But as you touched down, you could sense that you are in ground zero, because there are hundreds of people around the fence looking, soldiers around the area. The destruction started from the airport. All around you could see destruction. Just the air was a sense of sadness, hopelessness.
Just like Reverend John, I have one word that I'll probably say, meaning anxiety, apprehensive. It's a situation you have to close your eyes and get on with it. So it's not that you could have dismissed the situation, but you know you had to do something.
I heard about the earthquake, and knowing that I was good there, I was a little excited to be there to help. And it really hit me, as Pastor George said, ground zero. After coming out from the airport and seeing these amount of people along a fence, they had put up a fence along the airport. It seems to be like maybe about 500 feet of fence they have to walk to get out of the airport. And you see all these people on this fence, hook up on this fence, they barefooted, some of them doesn't have much clothes on, and my heart melted.
On that trip to Haiti, the team joined another work and witness team from the Kirkland Church of the Nazarene, led by Reverend Deborah Volker. Together, they would go to the Ballinger Church of the Nazarene. Their assignment was to erect the roof and build the benches for that church.
When we arrived in Haiti, obviously we are talking about a language barrier. We were scheduled to go to a particular place. The name can't even pronounce it at this point in time. When we reached on the site, we were assigned to go to a church which I later learned to be Ballinger, and that's much later. We were assigned to go to that church, and to tell you which part is located. All I know that we traveled through a marketplace, and the marketplace was a dirt market. And the place was crowded, and then we ended up going on this way called this dusty road. And when we reached by the church, to the back of the church was a pigsty, and there was the portion of the work was started by the local. They were doing the concrete work, which is the superstructure, and our assignment was basically to erect the roof. And there was a project where they normally do provide benches for the church.
The team describes their reception by locals as one filled with love. Despite the language barrier, the locals communicated with the team via body language and actions.
The reception that we got was awesome. Yes, there was a language barrier, but the people, you could have seen it in their faces. They were happy that we came. They would come and make all kinds of signs and trying to communicate with us. They welcome us, they sit among us, they try to communicate with us. They helped us with the work that needed to be done. Of course, we have to kind of guide them.
Upon return from their first trip, the team met to discuss the way forward. They decided that in order to build relationships and to make a real impact, they would need to return to Haiti for the next work and witness trips in 2011 and 2012.
You could not develop a relationship with a one-off attempt. It's kind of like you're giving a compassion to somebody and you walk away, and that's the end of it. So even in the work and witness video, they emphasize that when you come, you will be building a relationship with the people. So you not just come to hand them food as if they are untouchable, but you come to build a relationship.
Following the 2010 trip to Haiti, the team was able to garner more support from fellow Nazarenes. The same team of 4 men returned to Haiti in 2011 with 7 additional members, all male. That time, they joined another work and witness team from the Washington Pacific District to erect a roof at the Virgile Church of the Nazarene.
We spent 2 days at the seminary, which is where the workshop is. And we spent some time doing some benches and what have you. Our assignment was then to go to the Virgile, which is in the mountain area. Our assignment actually was to erect the roof in 1 day, due to the fact that the distance from the seminary to that site was so great. We set out early in the morning, and it took us a long time before we reached, and so we had to work into the night to complete the job.
This trip was not without its challenges, as the team shared on the rough terrain and numerous flat tires that added to their experience.
We spent some time in the mission, preparing some benches and some other stuff. We cleared out some debris and other work at the mission. And we also, after we went to a place called Vigil, I hope I got the name right, and man, this was a long drive. We got about 8 flat tires on the way to and from Vigil. And when we got there, the place, we started, not just started, but we completed a roof and dedicated the building. We worked hard, tirelessly. The very moment that we reached there, we worked together, we worked alongside the Haitian people, and working with them was fun because you can't understand the Haitian Creole, you couldn't understand the English, so it was a little frustrating at times, but we enjoyed it nonetheless.
For the final trip in 2012, 4 women and a few young men joined that team. The 15-member strong contingent was assigned to construct the roof of the Boutin Primary School.
On the 3rd trip, we were joined with the ladies following the instruction from the Bollinger Church which we visited, on a Sunday when we went on the second trip. So next time we come, bring our wives. And so on that trip, we had, well, 2 persons had their wives, and we had 2 additional ladies, which was Sister Little One and Sister Patsy. We were now, this is something remarkable. We actually went into a desert-like type of area, very arid. The project was a school. That school functioned as a what they call a breakfast shelter, a food depot. It was close to the church. Actually, they're on the same compound.
We traveled to a place called Boating Way, a real remote and poverty-stricken community.
During all 3 trips to Haiti, the team enjoyed meals prepared by a local, Elise. Elise would faithfully purchase items and prepare meals for the team from the seminary. Regional Work and Witness Coordinator at the time, Steve Petit, visited Elise at her home during the 3rd trip, and upon seeing her living conditions, he approached the team to do an additional project of reconstruction of her building. The team happily agreed.
Because the job was completed at a short time, the then coordinator pointed out to us that, and that is we have met a new coordinator, which is Steve Petty. He said to us that he would like us to do an additional project, which is that he went to visit the cook who prepared the lunch for us. And when he saw her condition, he was so moved by it that he acted as if we were volunteer to go and help her to reconstruct the building. And that was also done in addition to what we have done at the school.
We were able to install a roof for one of the cooks in the mission who prepared meals for us. I think her name is Elise. We were able to do a roof for her, put on a roof, and install some plumbing in her house. And that was a really, really wonderful experience. We actually helped someone. In other cases, we were helping churches, but in this case, we actually helped Miss Elise, Sister Elise, and I give God praise and I give him thanks for that.
When I saw where the cook was living and where she had to cook her meals, I was almost brought to tears. This lady was with us all through at the center, preparing all our meals. And she was a bubbly, senior lady, always willing and had a smile in her way of doing things in that center. And when like that lady to see where that lady, actually where she was cooking, she couldn't stand up. She has to stoop down to get to her fireplace. She had to stoop down. The covering was so low that she had to stoop down to get into her kitchen. And we were given the awesome opportunity to erect a roof over the lady's kitchen. Brothers and sisters, I asked myself, how could someone live in this condition yet had so much gracefulness and joy and willingness to serve? That stood out to me.
Following their time in Haiti, the team reminisced on the aspects of their visits that stood out the most. For some, it was the resilience of the people. For others, witnessing the children sharing the little they had warmed their hearts. And for some, it was their greatest blessing just being a part of a wonderful team doing impactful work.
There are so many things to highlight, but if I were to highlight one thing, it would be the resilience of the people.
I was also amazed by the resilience of the people. They were always looking for something to do.
What stood out to me is the people and the will to live. In one word, resilience.
And what stood out for me, is the vigor and the dexterity of the people who, no matter what they was going through, the downtime, the uptime, they were always willing, upfront, early in the morning. You see them out and they're struggling, they outside fighting to make a dollar, to make things work and thing, and it really touched my heart.
People, they were strong. They were not looking like they're in need, really. Although you're seeing they're in need, but they wasn't showing you or telling you that they're in need. The people, they were strong, lifting some heavy weight sometimes. You see the ladies with these tall things on their head. So I thank God for the opportunity that He gave me, and seeing the people, in spite of their situations, their love for God and their love to work.
The Sunday when we had the first service with them, the church was packed. The church was packed to capacity, and what stayed in my memory for a long time, even now, was that around the altar was these plugs with many, like every member of the congregation's cell phone was plugged in there. And I was told later that the church was the only place that had current, because there was no current in the area. So the church had these generators. So when they come on a Sunday morning, they would also get their phone charged up. So while service is going on, the altar area is packed with phones. I was wondering, how were they able to distinguish whose phone it was at the end of the service? But they were able to do that. But that stood out to me, how fortunate we are that we have current, we have access to all these things. These people only had access to current one day a week when the church doors are open.
What impacted me most was the children, the young children there, and they just come out from all over to help, to see, just to meet and greet us, and to be a part of what we are doing. One instance, when we stopped to eat, they were there for the whole day, and we usually stop and eat, go aside in our group and eating. And while we were eating, they are sitting outside the vehicle or wherever we are eating, and they're waiting, and they're watching. They don't have anything to eat, so I shared with them. I usually walk with snacks, and I gave them the snacks I had there, and it was surprising that the older of one of the young children took it, and instead of, they took that snack, that one pack of biscuit with 4 biscuits in it, and break it up and share it for each one of the children that was around us sitting down watching. They shared it and break it, and everybody get a piece. It was like communion.
One day we were having lunch, and the children came and they were sitting there, and somebody gave them a sandwich. There were probably about 15 or 20 children there. One person got the sandwich, but the thing that stood out most to me is that they broke a very little piece of that sandwich, so that the 15 or the 20 children who were there got a piece, and that really stood out to me.
I was impacted by the pastor of the Lutheran Church of the Nazarene. This pastor showed what 2 Corinthians 8:1 says, God loves a cheerful giver. We gave this pastor 2 sandwiches, and this pastor broke those sandwiches into pieces and shared with all the members of the church that came to help us on that project.
What really stood out to me was the work and witness team, right? Knowing that everybody have their own things to deal with, and they leave that to go and do God work. They leave their family, they leave all those things behind to go and do God work. So that showed me that in spite of what you're going through, you still have to leave it behind to do God work and to help others.
What really stood out to me on that trip was the fact that with the little that we did, we went to vigil for one night, we erected a roof, we took some benches, but the impact on the community, we had to do a dedication for the church, and you saw people who had literally nothing bring everything that they have to the table to give thanks. They had a street procession for the team, and it said to me, and it taught me that here's what, despite whatever little we could have done in that short time we were there, the impact that it had on their lives, they were so grateful for it, that that stood out to me, that give the little that we have, because it wasn't much, in my opinion, what we did, but truly they appreciated it and they showed their gratitude for it.
Among the challenges faced by the team was the mental preparation for the trip, concerns about the facilities available, and witnessing the devastation that the earthquake caused.
The challenge for me was preparing myself mentally to go into Haiti. You're living in a country where all you hear about Haiti is negative. You hear about the crime, you hear about what we will term necromancy. What is the risk in going there? And eventually you come to a place where you make a decision, the final decision to go. And just to share a quick experience, when we were going into Haiti from Panama, we were going in a lightning storm, and there was a particular point in the trip where the plane literally dropped out of the sky, and automatically you're thinking, I should not be here. I should not have come here. But the beauty about that particular situation is that for the first time, everybody on that plane that I think about, even if you didn't believe in God, cried out to God. So to me, though it was a challenge in the beginning, eventually it worked out for me to strengthen my own courage and resolve that, hey, you're doing the right thing by going.
The only challenge I had was the terrain, to get to the site daily. Every morning we have to get up early, and the terrain was rough. It was really rough.
All right. One of the major challenges I think that we faced when we was in Haiti is basically the terrain. To get from where we was in the Nazarene Center to go to the workplace, the terrain, the roads were terrible. Sometimes you're bouncing up and down, real big road, real big. The road was really in a mess, but
when Lenny's coming back from the different trips that he attended, I was very excited to go. But I also was concerned because in 1999, I came out of a near-death experience because of an illness I had. And I was concerned if I'll be able to fly all that distance to Haiti. So I was trusting God that He will keep my heart and keep my lungs breathing strong enough so I'll be able to travel that distance. And I thank God that He kept me. One of the challenges is it's a bit embarrassing that Yvonne and I encountered. It's something that is really personal because they didn't have proper things where for the ladies to use. So we had a makeshift something. So I don't want to talk on it really, but it was a challenge experience, kind of fun for Yvonne and I.
I saw where the young people, we didn't have much water. There was not much running water on the site where you go. So you had to walk with everything, food stuff, everything. And I did see that the young people, the young ladies, when they had to wash the clothes, the water that they used was from in the canals. And I was like, where are they getting the water? Because we know there was no water on site, right? More than the bottles of water that we had. But they were with this basin there, and they put a ratchet in the basin. And the water, the dirty water that was in the canal that they collected, was brown, and when they put that ratchet in it, it became clear, and they sat there washing their clothes. And I was amazed that these people are washing with that water and it coming clean and they have no problem. It was a challenge for me because I would not use that water at all. I wouldn't even think about that water running in the drain there to do with anything. And I was like, wow, they using that normal. And I was amazed. I say, Lord, I could do more. I could do more. I have to be grateful for whatever I have.
For the team, their trips to Haiti were eye-opening. The words of an old gospel song, "Little is much when God is in it," had greater meaning to those who went on these trips. It sparked growth in some, a feeling of contentment in others, and challenged some to do more. It also cemented the importance of building relationships.
You know, you heard that little is much when God is in it. Well, in Haiti, that's not just a statement. That's an experience. It helped me to be more contented with the lot that God would give to me, to be resilient in the face of devastating situation, use my little and rejoice, and to also rise in the midst of devastating circumstances. Know that you can get up and move forward again.
And these people later, they were always happy, they were always rejoicing, and they were always willing to do whatever it takes. And I remember the scripture saying, in everything, give thanks. And I was not just reading it as a scripture verse, but I was seeing it in real life. In everything, you must give thanks.
I have learned to cherish everything that I have. You know, before going to Haiti, I used to cry and say, look, I'm poor, I don't have this, I don't have that. But when you go to Haiti and you see what took place in Haiti and things, you learn to appreciate what you have. You learn to cherish, you learn, you know, because sometimes we have things where we just waste, throw away. When you go to a country where they don't have and you see they will eat dirt, to get a meal, you have to be thankful. To God be the glory.
Always be grateful. Never use the word poverty when it comes to my life in Trinidad and Tobago. Is that I will never say to anyone that I am poor. I have learned to give God praise and thanks in the little, with the little, for the little that I have.
Haiti for me was an eye-opening experience. I thank God for the opportunity to witness and see the resilience of the people being in that dirt. You know, like the place was just dust, dirt, nothing growing, nothing living, more than the people moving around, and you don't know where the next meal coming from. But I saw them get up every morning and function and go to work like if, okay, they have a job, things are going well with them, and you don't know what they have, you know, to live with, to eat for the day. You don't know if anybody working, if everybody is getting, you know, getting by, but they were moving as though they had. And we have so much here. We take for granted that we complain. Every little thing that is not going right for us, we complain. We don't have this morning, you get a hot cup of tea, we complain. But you're not even hearing that truth with them. And I thank God, it is an eye-opening for me to know that whatever little we have, we must give thanks, because we don't know when it could disappear.
I remember while preparing to go to Haiti, my mind and you know, your thoughts, you're thinking that, all right, I prepared to bomb down on the ground, spread mattress and something and bow down on the ground. But I was kind of surprised when I saw where we had to stay. And then when you see now the people and the lives that how they live, you remember that contentment is a great gain. That when you see situations where people living, and then you thinking that you might feel you need more than what you have, but just to be contented. And what I would like to also to see for the people here, that they could have a zeal to work. You're not seeing much about that. You're only seeing excuses whenever you have to go on to do some work on witness event.
Acts 20, verse 35. In everything I did, I show you that by this kind of hard work, we must help the weak. Remembering the words of the Lord Jesus Christ himself said, it is more blessed to give than to receive.
Right, so my takeaway is simply there's an old adage, why cry for shoes when there are persons without feet? And going to Haiti, I learned a tremendous lesson. I took a photo of a child just outside the Billinger Church that we visited. And if you look at that picture, you would swear that you were somewhere in sub-Saharan Africa. And Haiti is just up the street from us, literally in the Caribbean. So there are persons outside there who are in need. And and sometimes we complain about what we have and what we do have, or sometimes, you have things and you always want more. You always seem to want more. But for me, going to Haiti taught me that here's whatever you have, rejoice, be glad for it. Always be ready to go, always be ready to give.
With every trip, the team went to Haiti with the intention to rebuild structures and restore hope to the Haitians. Little did they know that this experience would tug at their own hearts. As they worked, the people witnessed to them through their resilience and their hearts of gratitude.
One of the things that stands out to me in that place is that, being a poverty-stricken place, they were willing to give the very little that they had to us, even when they didn't have.
If I were to borrow something from Haiti, is the idea of the mission center and getting work done in preparation for the team, so that the team will, have that sense of completion before they go, and also the spirit of resilience to strive through difficult circumstances are things that I would highlight.
The way that they coordinate the project at the Nazarene Center, it really amazes me. The guy there was Brother Absolute, which was coordinating all these projects, and even as the mission team that is coordinating our projects, we could probably take a little example of him, how it was coordinated.
We as a Christian people, we as people that are following God, right, had to know and be open-hearted, that when God sends somebody to help us, that we take the help and not be ungrateful for the help. Because in Haiti, while we was in Haiti, when we came to help the people that greeted us with love, and they greeted us. There was day to help. They didn't study what else they have to do for the rest of the day, but it was day to help, and there was day to communicate with us. In spite of we couldn't speak the language, them was always present.
In those trips that we made to Haiti, actually, I built relationship not only among the work and witness team members, but even among the Haitian leadership, even within the Mesoamerican leadership. Actually, we went on to Guatemala and I met the Haitians. I cannot speak their language, but you get the sense that they still remember you and they still relate with you. Actually, the interpreter for the impact leadership actually that identified me as pastor And I kept telling them I'm not a pastor.
Coming back from trips, we normally, and during trips, we normally discuss how we go forward and what we should do going forward better. And it is in one of those discussion meetings that we felt, and that was coming down to the third trips in Haiti, we felt that we needed to have other experiences. One, with Haiti, the language was a barrier for us, and it is work and witness, and it was a barrier because we couldn't do the witness part of the concept of work and witness in Haiti. So that was one of the reasons why we decided that we should, after 3 years, we should go somewhere else. The language was one of it, the language barrier was one of it. The other thing was that we felt 3 years would have given us enough time to make an impact in the area that we would have gone. While we are working on witnessing, we also knew that people were taking time off that they would normally go on holidays with and go to these trips. And if we keep moving around the Caribbean, it will give people that opportunity to see a new country, to meet a new island, so that they can encompass a little pleasure in it.
After 3 years of work and witness to Haiti, the team was satisfied with the impact of their work there and so began planning for a new work.
And I must say it was a very, very humbling and teaching experience in Haiti. I would encourage any person to become a part of the district work and witness team, and I can say you will not regret being a part.